Hi everyone. Today we will be talking about simplifying expressions. Let's take a look at our vocabulary. Like terms are terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. Combining like terms is the process of adding or subtracting like terms. Simplify means to put in the simplest form. So what does it mean to combine like terms? Well, you can only combine terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. So let's take a look at these examples down here. So the process that I use to combine like terms is more of a grouping process. And you may have learned it in a different way, but this is how I teach it. So if you prefer the way that you've learned in the past, you absolutely can use that. If this way makes more sense for you, then use this way. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look to see how many different types of terms I have. I've got three terms, all of which have variables. My first term and my last term both have A's. My middle term has a B. That means I have two different types of terms. I've got terms with A's and I have terms with B's. So what I'm going to do is just put my like terms together in one group. So I've got 2a, and then I've got that minus 4a. That sign is going to follow it. And then for my b's, I have that plus 3b. All right, so now I can combine them together. Well, 2 minus 4 would give me a negative 2. So 2a minus 4a gives me negative 2a. And then I got that positive 3b, nothing to combine him with. Bring it down, and I'm left with negative 2a plus 3b. Now, I cannot combine these because they are not like terms. I'm done. Circle my answer. All right, let's try this one. So again, I want to first determine how many different types of terms do I have. So I look at my variables. I've got m, n, and m. So I have two different terms. So I'm going to make two groups or two columns. This group will be for my m's, and this group over here will be for my n's. So I'm going to put all my m's here and all my n's here. All right, so m's. I have a 14m, and I have a plus 3m. For my n's, I have that minus 3n and that minus 2n. All right, now we can combine. 14m plus 3m is going to give me 17m. Here, when I read this math problem right here, this says negative 3n minus 2n. So since this one here is technically in the middle, if I think of it like this, if I put them this way, that says negative 3n minus 2n. Right now I'm looking at it vertically. Negative 3n minus 2n is going to give me a negative 5n. So I end up with 17m minus 5n. And then I'm going to circle my answer. Okay. Once I've split them, I've grouped them into their like terms, I can't combine what's left at the end. All right, let's take a look at this one here. So here I've got x, no variable, and then x squared. So if we remember back up to the top, okay, you can only combine terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. So we have to keep our eye on that. All right, so I have x's, I have a constant, and then I have an x squared. So my x squared is going to be grouped separately from my x's. All right, I'm going to start with my x squared, and then I'm going to do my x's, and then last I'm going to do my constant, which I just show as a number. All right, so my x squareds, the only thing I have is that positive 5x. I forgot to put my lines in there. All right, my x's, I have a 5x, and I have a positive 4x. And then my constant is just a negative 6. All right, now we can combine. Well, there's nothing to combine him with, so he's going to come down as 5x squared. 5x plus 4x will give me 9x, and then I can bring down my minus 6. So 5x squared plus 9x minus 6. All right, so something to make note of. And I did this automatically up here, but now let's actually make note of what I did and the order that I put my answers in. All of your answers should be arranged so that the variables are in alphabetical order first. A came before B, M comes before N. Then, in order from greatest to least, exponents. So if we look over here, these are both x's, but I put the x squared first because that's a bigger exponent than just plain x. And then my constants will always go at the end. All right, so I want you to come down here, and you can use whatever method you like. Like I said, if you have a method that you've learned in the past for combining like terms that you prefer, use that. If you like the method I just showed you, then you can use that one. So go ahead, pause the video now, and try these 3 examples. Okay, let's go to the next page. And now we're going to talk about the distributive property. So the distributive property is multiplication distributed over addition or subtraction. All right, so here's just the general rules of the distributive property and how it can work, and then some examples with numbers and what it looks like. So let's come down here and take a look at these actual examples. All right, so we have the quantity 1 plus 2n times 8. All right, so I am going to do a little multiplying here. So I'm going to take the number that's on the outside of the parenthesis, and I'm going to distribute it to everything inside. So my 8's going to get distributed to that 1, and then I'm going to distribute it to the 2n. So I'm going to do 8 times that 1, and then I'm going to do 8 times that 2n. So we end up with 1 times 8 plus 2n times 8. So now we can simplify. 1 times 8 is 8, 2n times 8. Well, it's really just saying 2 times n times 8. So I can do 2 times 8 is 16 and bump the n to the end. Now, if we were to write this in proper form, we'd actually flip these around. And I would actually want to write 16n plus 8. Either one of these answers is correct. On a multiple choice test, you may see it written more like this one here. And then we can circle up our answer. So you can either have that as an answer, or this one here. Either one is fine. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right, now I need to distribute that 1/3. But be careful because there's a minus sign in front of it. Whenever we see a minus sign, we're really saying that we are adding a negative. All right, this is working really slow. Let me try that again. All right, let's try that again. Make these a little smaller. So when we're subtracting, we are really saying that we are adding a negative. So why does that not want to work for me? All right, trying to get another line drawn in there. There we go. All right, so that's supposed to be saying adding a negative. All right, so subtractionist means adding a negative. So now I want to distribute that negative 1/3. So pay attention And make sure you're understanding that you are distributing a negative number. So when we multiply, we have to multiply by negative 1/3. All right, so multiplying by 1/3 is really the same as just dividing by 3. So negative 1/3. So, well, first what we're going to do is we are going to take this negative x and we're going to bring it down. This negative x is going to come down. And then we're going to show our work, showing that we're going to do a negative 1/3 times 3x, and then we're going to do a negative 1/3 times that x squared. All right, so there's a slight mistake in here. All right, we're going to add in this negative sign here because we really should have a negative sign here. Okay, so be careful when we go to actually do our answer. All right, so my negative x is just going to come down because I can't do anything else with him yet. So I'm going to bring down my negative x. Now, when I multiply, remember subtraction is the same as adding a negative. All right? So I'm going to multiply negative 1/3 times 3x. Well, multiplying by 1/3 is the same as really dividing by 3. So when I multiply this, I'm going to end up with a negative x, or a negative 1x. When I come over here, multiplying by negative 1/3 really means I'm going to divide this by 3, okay, or negative 3. All right, so here we're going to end up having to fix this mistake. So hold on a second. All right, so this, oops, it did not do what I wanted it to do. Oh, you know why? Okay, well, I'm going to take this out altogether. I'm going to delete this. That's not the right answer, and we're going to put in what the right answer should be. Alright, so the right answer should be this at this point. So we've got negative x. Now when we do that negative 1/3 times 3, that gives us a negative 1x. We don't have to put the 1 in front of the x though, so we leave it as just negative x. Alright, then I come over here and I'm going to do negative 1/3 times 6x squared. And again, that's the same as dividing 6 by negative 3, which is going to give me a negative 2x squared. So my negative x here came down. Negative 1/3 times 3x should give me negative x. Negative 1/3 times 6x squared should give me a negative 2x. All right, now we can combine our like terms. So we can do that process that I had done earlier, okay, where we take these and we draw that line and we can show that split, if you like that. And then I can say, okay, now I've got my x, and then over here I've got my x squared. All right, so those are the two different terms that I have. So in this one here, I've got a negative x and a negative x. So I'm going to put each of those in. So under this one, I've got negative x and negative x. And then over here, I've got negative 2x squared. All right, so now we can combine these together. So I'm going to kind of adjust this up a little bit to give me just a little more room. So I can fit in my answer. All right, so now my final answer at this point, I've got a negative x and another negative x. How many negative x's do I have? Well, I have 2 of them. So I have negative 2x minus 2x squared. All right, but remember we talked about how we need to put this in that kind of proper order. So I'm actually going to write my final answer as negative 2x squared minus 2x. And there's my final answer. All right. So to recap this problem, there was some mistakes made in there, so sorry that took so long to fix and get through it. So first thing we have to do is distribute. So anytime we're simplifying, the first step is to distribute. If I have parentheses and a number stuck to the outside, I automatically distribute that number. This negative x over here, I just brought him down. I wasn't going to use him right away. So I distributed, so I said the negative 1/3 times 3x, and then I said the negative 1/3 times 6x squared. So we came down here. This negative x I'm not using yet because I have to simplify my multiplication first. So my negative x just came down. Negative 1/3 times 3x just gives me a negative 1x, or negative x. Negative 1/3 times 6 gives me a negative 2x squared. Then I split them up based on the types of variables and grouped my like terms together, combined them, and then I made sure to put it in the right order. All right, so come on down here, and I want you to try these two on your own. This one has a fraction. Be careful on this one. I don't have a number written here. There's just a negative sign. So I want you to think about what number could actually be here. Okay? What number could actually be there if none is shown? All right, so go ahead, and this is the end of your notes at this point. So you can stop the video and complete these two problems on your own. I'll see you in class next time.